Hello everyone, today we are going to keep going on chapter 12, exercise 2, and now I am going to show you how to make the motor, technically motor cover. It's just a cover of that part. So this is what the part will look like. And let's go back to the assembly and briefly review what the part that we're going to make. So this is the part that we're going to make today, and I'm going to show you how to use SolidWorks to make this part. And before we start, so this is the part. And so first of all, we're going to make the shape like this and do like this. And this is the next step. So make a plate and make the square and do the one cut here and then do the pattern for all this stuff and make all holes at the top. So another 2 holes. So this is what we're going to do for this part. So now let's close this part and start the new one. So I am going to go to SolidWorks and start a new one and new part and say OK. And remember the units is going to be inch, so make sure you change the units to inch again. So let's go to the step and look at the step. So first of all, we are going to make the sketch like that. And I am going to SolidWorks and make that sketch on the front plane. So go to front plane and go to sketch, select the sketch and make that part on the front plane. So first of all, I am going to draw a circle and draw the shape and make it to be a tangent. If it doesn't recognize, I am going to add it manually. So it didn't recognize, but that's okay. Make it a tangent. Yep, recognized here. And oh, it recognized there as well. And now let's figure out the diameter of the circle. So go back to the drawing. It looks like the radius is 3.5 of the circle. So let's go back here and give a radius of 3.5, which diameter is 7. And let's look at other dimensions. So this is 12, and half of that is going to be 6, and the height is going to be 6.75. So go back here, the dimension from there to the bottom is 6.75, and do the height here is going to be 12, and half of that is going to be 6, which is from the point, the origin to this point is going to be 6. Now it should be fully defined. Yep, it is. Now let's do some extrusion. So before I do that, I'm going to save the work first and go back to my folder and save everything together. And this part we call it as motor and save it. And let's do some extrusion. So go to extrusion and the top part here, and it's recognized, and the thickness, let's figure out the dimension. So this is what we are doing, and after this it's going to be this part at front. So from the also to all the way back here. So from the drawing, looks like we're looking for the dimension from here until the very end. Okay, so the dimension is going to be 8.25 plus 0.5 because it's until the very end. So let's do that as the top part, and the bottom part is 6.5. So let's go back. So the top part is going to be 8.25 plus 0.5. That's the dimension, and say OK with that. And let's extrude the bottom part. So select the sketch 1 first, and select extruded boss or base, and give the dimension. And like we said, it's going to be 6.5. So let's change it to 6.5. Oh, didn't select the right part. So select this part, 6.5, and say OK. And let's see what's gonna do for the next. So next one, we're going to add this part and this part. So let's do the plane plate first. So go back to SolidWorks, and I'm going to work on this plane. So I go to Sketch, and select the plane. I'm going to select this surface as my plane, and I'm going to draw a circle on that. And let's figure out the dimension of that part. So go back here, and the big one, the diameter is 10. So let's go back here and do smart dimension, give the diameter 10, and say OK with that. And now let's do some extrusion. So select that sketch we just drew, and let's look at the thickness of that part. Looks like the thickness is 0.5. So let's go back here and get the dimension 0.5 as the thickness, and say OK with that. And let's see what we're going to do the next. Next, we are going to make this part. So let's figure out the dimension from the top to the bottom, because the bottom is our top plane. Let me double check. Then if it is, then we need the dimension from here to there, because we're trying to create a new reference surface. So let's go back here and check my top plane. Oh, it's not there. So the top plane. So let me find a good view on that. So maybe front view, and let me see where the top plane is. Okay, so it's in the center of the circle. And now let's go back to the drawing and find out the dimension. So once again, we're trying to make this the top part first, then extrude it down. So the height is going to be 6. Okay, 6. So we're going to create a reference geometry. So in particular, a plane, and reference is going to be the top view, the top plane, and the length is going to be 6. And look at the direction. Yep, looks right. And say OK for that. Now we have a plane. Then let's go to a top view, because we're trying to draw the part on top of that. And let's go back and find out the dimensions. So this is a section view of AA. So if you make a cut, so this is section view of that. So I can tell the width of that square is going to be 8.25 for rectangle, and the length is going to be 6. So the part is 6 times 8.25. So let's go back here and make a sketch. So sketch is going to be on plane 1, and make a rectangle, just a random one, then we're going to dimension later. And with the length that is 6, and the width that is 8.25, say OK for that. So apparently it's underdefined because we need more dimensions. So from the origin to this point, it's going to be half of 6, which is 3. And now let's figure out the distance between this and here. So if we go back to the drawing, so looks like the thickness here is 0.5, and the square rectangle is smaller than the back rib. So okay, 0.5. Let's go back here and let's go out of smart dimension first. Say okay for the dimension and drag it in because it's supposed to be in there. Okay, supposed to be in there. Then let's dimension. Say okay for that, and the dimension again. So the distance between here and here is going to be 0.5, like we just said. So do 0.5 for that. Say okay for the dimension. Then the part is fully defined. Then save the work, and the traffic lights disappeared. And let's go back to features and do extrusion. So we're going to extrude it down up to the next. So let's see if it will work. So select the sketch first, then go to extruded boss or base, and extrude it. The direction is wrong apparently, so we flip the direction and up to the next. Yep, looks right. Hold on. Yep, looks right to me. And say okay for that. And now we have that part, and save the work, and we don't need the plane 1 anymore, so let's hide that. So this is what we get so far. Save the work again, and now let's go to the next step. And next one, we're going to create this slot. Then let's go to look at the dimension of that slot. So before I do that, I'm going to draw it first. So go here and go to sketch, select the sketch and select the surface. I'm going to select this as the surface and draw the slot. So 2 lines, one is here and maybe connect all of them, so it's better for me later to do cut. Remember, it has to be a closed shape. So I am going to draw all of them, and then I'm going to dimension it. So I am going to make it on the right side view, so it's better for me to take a look. And now I am going to say okay and put the dimensions on it. So let's go back, and the part, so it's the thickness, the depth is 0.5 and the height is 0.45, and I don't see the dimension. So from here to the top I don't see it, so I assume it's 0.45 as well, because each one of this is 0.9, which is the double of 0.45. So let me put the dimensions in there as 0.45 of each. So go to dimensions, dimension those 2 parts here to there as 0.45, and this line is 0.45 as well. Now the part is fully defined, and say okay with that. And now let's do a extruded cut. So save the work first and go to sketch 4 and go back to features, extruded cut, and cut in that direction. Looks right to me. If you remember, then the dimension, the thickness, the depth is going to be 0.5. So let's go back here and yeah, it's exactly 0.5, and say okay with that. And this is the cut that we made. Then we're going to do patterns for the rest of them. So we're going to go to linear pattern and do a linear pattern here, and now select the direction. So I'm going to select this line going down, the distance in between. So let's figure out the dimension. It's going to be 0.9, and we need 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. So let's go here and 0.9 of each, and we need 4 of them, and select the feature that we want to duplicate, do the pattern. So check this feature and go here and select the cutted part, which looks right to me. And we need another direction because we wanted to get mirrored here as well. So we go to direction 2 here, select this edge, and give the dimension. So the distance there, let's go back here. So let's put a 6 there first to see if it'll work. Otherwise, we're going to change. And we need a 6, and we need 2 of them. So one is this, another is on the other side. So put 2, see if it'll work. The direction is wrong, so let's flip the direction. And it's in the outside, so we need to subtract this part. So let's go back and I'll take a look at that part. So it's 0.5. So this distance is going to be 6 minus 0.5, which is 5.5. So let's change it to 5.5 and say OK, see what's going to happen. Yep, this is exactly what we're looking for. Yep, looks pretty good to me. Okay, yeah, let's move forward. So let's look at the next step. We are going to make all this holes. So first is this one, and this one, and this one, then make a pattern. So first of all, let's make the big one. Let's take a look at the dimensions. Looks like the dimension of the hole is 6, and the dimension of the small one is 1.5, and the thickness, so looks like it goes through until 0.5. Okay. So the depth, so here to here, so we have a 0.5 here, so it's going to be 0.5 here as well. So the total depth from here to there is going to be 9 plus 0.5 and subtract 0.5, so it's going to be 9. And let's do 9, see if it's right. So the hole is a 6 diameter and the depth is 9. So go back here and go to sketch. So select the plan and make a circle. So the circle, the diameter is going to be 6. And say OK for that and save the work. And select the sketch we just did and go back to features, extruded. I'm sorry, it should be extruded cut. And go the depths. Let's try 9 first to see what's going to happen. And say OK for that. Maybe right, I can't tell right now. And now let's flip it to the back and make another hole. So make the small holes here with the diameter 1.5 if you remember that, and the thickness should be 0.5. Okay, so let's go back to SolidWorks and go to sketch and make a circle. Select the plan. I'm going to select this plan here and draw a circle on it, and with the give a dimension which is 1.5 and say OK with that and save the work and select the sketch I just did and go back to features, do extruded cut, and the thickness is going to be 2. Let's double check, see if it's going to go through. I'm sorry, it's going to be 0.5. So let's see if it will go through and say OK with that. See if I got the entire hole. Yes, I got it. So this is right. And now we're going to make this hole. So that hole is 30 degrees here, and the hole is 3 times diameter 0.75. So let's go to SolidWorks and use a hole wizard for that hole. And go to features, hole wizard, and I probably want to turn in the front view so I can see it better. So I selected the third one, the simple hole. It's inch one, so I go to and say inch, and the diameter is 0.75. Let's see if we have that. So now I want to see the decimal values. So it's 0.75, 0.75, 175. Yeah, exactly here. 3/4, and through all. That's okay. And now let's go to positions and select the surface. I'm going to select this and put my hole here. And now we are going to dimension it and go to smarter. So before I do that, I probably need to draw two center lines in order to dimension the angle. So go to center line from the center, make sure the horizontal relation is showing up, and make another center line from the center. Whoops, didn't recognize. So from the center to the center, and the dimension does 2 at 30 degrees. For some reason it's not recognized because it's still blue, so I am going to make it one more time. So center line here, recognize the center, and to the center here. Yeah, still, oh, because I haven't dimensioned yet. Yeah, that makes sense. And the dimension, so select the dust tool and say it's 30 degrees, and say okay with that. And now we need to give a distance from here to there. So let's go back and figure out the diameter of that hole. So it says 8.5. Okay, 8.5. So the distance is going to be half of 8.5. So give a dimension from here to there is half of 8.5. So 8.5 divided by 2 is the dimension. Say okay, and it's black right now, looks good, and say okay. And is there a number greater than, okay, so it's probably somewhere. So let's go back and check that. So I probably don't need that part, so I uncheck that and say okay, save the work. Okay, still doesn't, so let's try something else. Don't show this. If it's still, then we're going to close it and make that hole one more time. So hole wizard here, and make sure it's working. And the third one, the position, select the sketch here and put a hole. So let me say okay first to see if it works. Oh, I probably don't want to put it through all then. So I am going to put it blend and say okay with that. Then it will work. Now it's going to be underdefined, so I go back to sketch 9 and dimension this hole one more time. So I'm going to put it on the front view so I can see it better. Then I'm going to dimension, give a distance from here to there. So the distance is 8.5 divided by 2, and make two center lines. One is straight and the other from here to this point, and give a degree which is 30 degrees, and it's black, and say okay with that, and exit the sketch. Now it's fully defined, and save the work. In the last step, let's make a pattern of this hole. So go to a circular pattern and select the direction. I'm going to select this part and go to equal spaces. I'm going to select 3 of them, and the part I'm going to go ahead and select the hole that I just made and say okay with that. And this is all we have for this part, and give a good view and save the work. Then I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.